Yeah. How long you had car?
Long story, this. Long story, boy. What is that? Matt Walker owned a car originally, right? As an Escort, as a genuine Escort RS Cosworth. And then I work in Grimsby a bit, and then I would go around his workshop. I'd buy bits off him, he'd buy bits off me. We'd fanning about with stuff. And this pickup was always in the corner, right? It was an Escort RS Cosworth that he had cut the back off.
He'd already started chopping.
He'd cut the back off it years ago, and it was sat in this. And every time I was in there, like getting some bits off him or doing summits, he's a real clever bloke. Real clever. He's a nutter, but he's a real clever bloke. He's a real clever bloke. You don't want to fall out of him, right? Real clever bloke. And every time I was in there getting something done or whatever, I said, "What are you doing with that pickup?" Oh, and he's got these mad ideas, right? Because he strokes Cosy motors and strokes them to 2.2. He makes all the spaces for the blocks and all. He's a clever bloke. And every time, this went on for years, he said, "What are you doing with that pickup?" "Oh, well, I'm going to have this engine in it. I'm going to 2.2. It's going to be this horsepower. Going to do this, do this." Anyway, this pickup sat in there for years. And then somehow I said, "If you ever get you're not getting your finger out your ass with that pickup." I said, "If you're going to do it with it, you got to sell it to me. I'll get it done." And anyway, I got a phone call maybe 5 years later. This would be about 8 or 9 years ago. Matt Walker said, "I'll sell you that pickup if you want." All right then. So anyway, I bought a pickup off him, right? Just the bare shell on a spit. You've got the spit here somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right? And I had all these, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that pickup. Well, there's a long story, boy. There's a long story. Just out of it. I would say, and I don't think I'm far wrong, you've seen my Volvo. Yeah. I think I've got the coolest Volvo in the world.
God, yeah.
1968 Volvo Amazon, right? Two-door estate, never made a two-door estate, with a T6 in it, it's 800 horsepower, it's a weapon of a thing. I've had that for 15 years, right? I love that car, right, but it's not my car. I own it, but it wasn't my vision. It wasn't my idea. I bought it off the bloke that built it in Sweden, right, Matthias Vox. Yeah. He was a legend. He works at Koenigsegg, right? And it always embarrassed me, that car, right, because it's my car. I own it, and I've rebuilt it a load of times, right, but it's not my car. It's not my vision, right? So I thought, right, this pickup is going to be my pickup, right? Yeah. It's going to be my vision. It's going to be my ideas, right? And it's going to be mine. So that's the reason for this. Yeah, so I bought it off Matt Walker, just the bare shell on the spit, right? Got it in the shed.
I like how you call it a shed.
Yeah, it was a shed, but then what happened was, we built my Transit. This was at the sort of time we put the engine in the back of it. I built a Transit van, me and a mate, we built a Transit van, put an engine in the back, went and broke the lap record around the Nürburgring, which I still think stands. But I'm not sure, right? So, put the engine in the back and had all that momentum. We did that Transit in 6 months. Cut the back of the van out, put the engine in the back, made a wishbone setup, but a couple of mates helped us out, and made a right good job, right? Not a right good job. It did the job. It did end up on fire, but it did do the job, and it did the lap record, right? Then I sold that, right? And then I sold it because all this momentum, right? So I sold the van, and I got the money out of it, right? I had all this momentum built up. I thought, right, all that momentum and money is going to go into this pickup, and I'm going to get it done. And that was 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, nearly 5 years ago when we met, and he says, "Oh, I need you to, because you're going to ride my bike around the wall of death."
Yes, I was, yeah.
And then he says, "Oh, I've got a project for you to do."
Yeah.
And I come down that Sunday. I looked at it and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, you did. It's all to cock. Hurt your eyes.
I can't touch that. Everyone laughed at me.
Yeah, but that was just because the proportion was wrong. From exactly. The B pillar back, you always said that was to cock, right? Yeah. So the story goes then. The story goes, all this momentum, got my money out the Transit, going to chuck it into this, and then I just got wrapped up in my 300 mile an hour approaches. I'm like 5 years into this now, trying to do 300 mile an hour. So any spare time goes into my mile bike, and then this sort of sat on the back burner. So phone call to Joe, right, go on, can we do it with this? And here we are now. Here we are now. Well, the story's a bit more complicated than that. Yeah. There's a few.
You'd ring me and call you, text me and say, "Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "I'll extend it." And you're like, "No, you can't do that."
Because I wanted to keep it as an Escort RS Cosworth, as it was, and just sort of make it nice.
I think
but my project.
It'll look more like an Escort Cosworth now than it ever would have. It would have looked like a P100.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
But where it's going to look now, because it's going to be a lot wider, and it's going to look in proportion. to an Escort Cosworth. I know it's, to look at, if you got a tape measure that, it's not, but to look at it, it's definitely going to look more like an Escort Cosworth now than it did. I think.
Right. Okay.
Like if you remember, I said let me put a 4-door door in it and move the boot post forward, and then we'll get the.
You did. Yes, you did.
But then I said you might as well use an Escort estate.
Yeah. Well, what was the point in buying a fucking?
So that's why we kept the door, and that's why we extended it on the back.
Yeah. 200 mil. Between the B pillar and the centre of the back axle. That's just so it doesn't hurt your eyes. That's the only reason. So we're going with that. Yeah. We're going with that, right?
It's just faster to do one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone's asking why. Why they say what? Why?
Yeah, GTR. Yeah. I went with a couple of mates of mine to the PRI show, right? Because I thought, right, got to do this, got to go, got to have 1,000 horsepower. Like, sort of. The idea is, and like you said, it's going to look like a P100, and I don't want it to look like a P100, but it sort of stuck in my head. When I used to work as a kid, one of the yards we worked in, one of the lads there had a California edition P100, right? And I always thought that was the coolest thing ever, right? So I wanted it looking a bit, obviously nothing like, but I don't know if you remember the stripes that a California edition P100. So I want it in the Cosworth colour with the, but this is all obviously a bit later on, but the stripes from the P100 California edition. And the reason I was going to thought, it'd be a cool thing if it was 1,000 horsepower, I'd just call it a P1000. You know what I mean? So it's nothing like a P1, I'd call it the P1. So it's sort of, you know what I mean? There's a lot of shit needs to happen between now and then, but that's sort of the thinking. But I don't, so I went to America to the PRI show with a couple of mates, just to have a look at stuff, you know, because I love what the Yanks do over there, right? And thinking, right, the only way forward for sort of a usable 1,000 horsepower was sort of LSX, LS7 at a push, maybe, you know what I mean, LX3, something like that. Right, so I went to America thinking, right, I need to get a plan with what sort of LS to buy. Because you can sort of buy a motor with a charger on it that will do 1,000 horsepower. There's push button. And I thought, oh yeah, mint. And I went there and I told them what my plan was. And they said, what are you thinking about with an LS for? You know what I mean? The Yanks are all mad for V8s. They said, you don't want anything like that. And I spoke to a load of people while I was there. They said, you don't do that. You use Nissan GTR. Yeah. You know, so that's what you want. So that's, I came back. Found a man in Wales, found someone else, and then got one out of a scrapper. And then, so here we are. Here we are, standard. That's just a standard GTR, which they're sort of all right. You can blow like a bar and a half, couple of bar boosts into them, sort of 700-800 horsepower. But stroke them to 4 litre. You're not. Obviously, people will know a bit more about that Litchfield and all that sort of stuff. They'll know a bit more what to do. But the original plan is get it all up and running. That's Lamborghini Gallardo gearbox or R8 Lamborghini Gallardo, same thing. Same thing. So that'll take the torque. So that's obviously with a lot of shit needs to happen between definitely thinking about 1,000 horsepower, but that's sort of, I'm not taking the piss asking for 1,000 horsepower. And then the original plan was, because I got a chance years ago to drive an Honda NSX, one of the new gen ones, with the electric motor setup in the front at a torque vector. And I just thought, what a trick thing that would
awesome,
be. And I mean, this is sort of thing, if we're sort of talking now about having 4 sort of similar wishbone setups with uprights. If it was something that could happen at a later date where we could retrofit a motor system into the front. Because that Honda NSX just blew my mind. I've never, maybe not the absolute fastest thing I'd ever driven, but the way in which that thing would torque vector around corners, it just blew my mind. And I thought, well, what I learned from driving that, I thought, well, that's something that you could apply to this.
Weight distribution. It'd be awesome to have a couple of batteries up front and then...
And you wouldn't need a load. If you're just going to use it for torque vector, you need like 3 or 4 kilowatt hours of battery storage. You know what I mean? So not a massive amount of battery weight, right? And then just use that for getting around the corners. Because obviously if we've got 1,000 horsepower there, it's enough. It's enough. And then we can get it around the corners using the torque vector setup. But this is something that we could retrofit. Obviously, the number one goal is let's get the thing on its wheels. Right?
Let's get a rolling shed.
I think that the original plan is to get it from you boys on its wheels. Then it comes into my shed. And then we start fanning about turbos. I think really, I love the idea of the complication. You love the idea of complication. I think we need to turbo compound it. Shane Tecklenburg, he's got a load of experience with these drag racing in America. He's all for turbo compounding these. So we'd run 3 turbos with a compound. Be a lot of complication, a lot of work to do. Wire it up, get the dashing, get the seat. You know what I mean? There's just so much to do. So that was my sensible way of subcontracting. You boys would do it in less time than me. You'd make a better job. But I'd have to do this 20 times to get it how I want it. Right, and it's an efficient use of time and money to bring it to you boys. So it comes back from you boys on its wheels, right, and then it's down to me then.
So we're going to go inboard suspension?
Yeah, I think that's what the plan was, inboard suspension, rock around setup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not going to have big ugly shockers up there, so I mean, everything is all about getting, it's purposeful, it's got to do a job, right? Because eventually, I'd like to go race it at Pikes Peak, but obviously there's years of testing to get out of the way. You know, I'd like to race it in time attack over here. Let's get all that done. Because it's built to the race, so it's eligible to race over here, right? Let's do a bit of that with it, right? And then if everything, we've got all the little niggles out of the way of it, let's go over there with it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
That'd be awesome. So we'll get it on its wheels, looking like an Escort Cosworth pickup.
Yeah.
Then send it to you.
Yeah.
You'll make some fucking insane power from it.
Yeah.
Then fucking race it. Yeah, we were gonna go centre steer on it, weren't we? But we wanted to be a passenger. Not so
That's
much.
the reason.
Not so much drive it, but
Just had a centre steer at Nudge for they call it Ferrari. It's not even a Ferrari. It's just a render I'm building for someone, customer, and he wanted it centre steer, so I've got a rack made, and I'm like, that's cool. You know?
Centre steer.
Yeah.
But like we were talking earlier, I mean, if we can feed the rear diffuser through a centre tunnel, right, and then if you're centre steering it, you're sort of compromising the centre tunnel. Right-hand drive. What's the problem, officer? What's the problem, officer? Yeah.
Definitely.
No. So obviously there's a load that needs to happen between now and pressing the button to go and race it. But we all know the vision, don't we? We all know the vision. I've confidence in. I've done the right thing in bringing it to you boys, because if it was left with me, it was just going to end up. Oh I'll get around to that. I fucking never get around to that. I fucking can't. I'm 5 years into my 300 mile an hour project, and I'm still fanning about that. It's just I'm always fanning about with that. I'm always, and it's in a state it's fast. But I'm just. Oh God. Nothing's finished because I've got to redesign it because it doesn't really do the job, and like no one's ever done 200 mile an hour on a sit on motorbike, so that's why, because it's not fucking easy. So that's sort of any spare time of money gets chucked into that. So this is in the right place. So right, you boys are gonna.
Well, we can crack on now.
Wishbone suspension on its wheels. Some sort of bodywork.
We'll get it looking like it should, because we need to make the bodywork fit the wheelbase, because we want it a lot wider on back. Then we're going to have to, so it looks better, we're going to have to make some kind of adjustment at sills, so your front wings match, like blend into your back wings with some aerodynamic. Some ducts in.
The cosy step outside, they're going to come out a lot.
We're just going to exaggerate. Exaggerate so what it would look like.
Like if it were a concept. If you actually built it. Cosworth.
It's going to be fucking awesome.
But we all know the vision. That's great. I'm getting excited by it. I get hard on with it. Boy. I'm very pleased I come down.
We do. We love it.
Dead pleased I come down. So right. Maybe see you in a few weeks then, month or so. Till like before harvest starts maybe, and then harvest starts, and then I'll be setting a tractor for them. You know what I mean? I haven't even got a clutch done. You know what I mean? You know, that's just the finer detail, isn't it? I mean, that is a very integral part. But I mean, that's just one little thing that needs to happen. Mounting manifolds, mounting turbos, charge coolers. What we're going to do, charge cooling wise, we're going to intercool it air to air. We're going to air to water, charge cooler. We're going to ice tank it. What we're going to do? You know, these are all options. But then there's weight penalty to pay for all of that. Where we're going to add radiators, where we're going to feed the radiators with it. What we're going to do? Put them in the front, and we've got the weight distribution right. So many bloody questions, isn't there?
They did a electric Peugeot Pikes Peak version, and framework on that was fucking sexy, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, it was sexy, and they had two radiators in front to cool batteries, and they had them like that, facing forward, and just to look at, they look fucking mint, didn't they? They
did.
So that's why we did that voiding on floor, so we could fake floor it, still have a flat floor underneath, and run all your pipe work under your fake floor, so it doesn't have to go through cab. But yeah, it's not like nothing's allowed to run through cab, as in terms of water or. Brake lines, fuel lines, nothing can go inside the cab. So then we put that fake floor in as such. Then you've got a void in between there where we can run everything. Then still have your flat floor, full aluminium plate underside. So you've just got full flat floor for aerodynamics.
Sound. Right, well, fingers crossed then, boys.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
We'll crack on.
All go, mate.
We'll speak to suspension man and get the
Yeah.
He's the fuse at the moment, and
definitely.
He'll dictate what tyres, widths, wishbones, suspension ratios, all of that.
Tractive suspension, isn't it?
Yeah, tractive suspension, right? Get a word.
So we'll organise that then.
Right, keep us informed then, boys. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mint
you.
job.
Awesome.
Mint job. Sound, mate. Sound.